what's up guys? Shams11. So we've just had the Xbox E3 presentation for 2017. And look how sunburnt I am. It's been very hot over here in the UK. I've been in the garden all weekend, so I'm rather burnt. So enjoy my pink face. I've got my notes on the laptop. Last year I had a piece of paper and a pen, so I've upgraded. But it's on quite late this year, bit of a different one. Over here in the UK it was 10 PM on a Sunday night, and it's nearly midnight, so a few people are going to miss this. And rather than trawl through a billion clips, which I don't have, I'm not that fancy, I'm rushing this through as always. I've taken some notes and I'm just going to tell you what happened and what you missed if you didn't see it. So it started off with a graphic presentation of 4K, basically. It all leads to this. We saw the original Xbox, was it 16 years ago they said? 18 years ago? 208 years ago. And it went through all the different sizes of pixels, right the way through up till 4K. It all leads to this. This was the big one. Straight off the back of that, we had a video clip of the Scorpio chip being made. We saw some graphics. Again, it wasn't in-game at all. All rendered stuff of Halo, Lord of the Rings, Gears, Forza, a possible new controller, sort of looked like, Crackdown, and everybody went absolutely crazy. The console is a black, kind of a charcoaly, matte black sort of colour, and it looks fairly similar to the current Xbox One S. Doesn't look a lot different in kind of design, shape-wise. We then had Phil Spencer come in. He was saying how the team has always wanted to empower developers and thrill gamers to bring the best possible experience to everybody, and the only way to do that is to have the most powerful console. So that's what they've been going to. They have a new member of the family, the Xbox One X. Yes, Project Scorpio is called Xbox One X. I preferred Scorpio. I always prefer these things. I remember when the N64 was Ultra 64, that was much better. It's going to be coming out November the 7th. That's a worldwide release. How worldwide that is, because I think before China and Brazil were delayed and all of that lot. But over in Europe, UK, America, I would think Canada, and possibly Australia, and maybe even New Zealander. November the 7th. It's the most powerful console ever made. We all knew that, with 4K resolution, textures and assets. 8 million pixels being processed. Look guys, there's loads of HDR, Dolby Atmos, and of course a 4K Blu-ray DVD player. They then went and talked about all these amazing chips and gizmos and what they did, and I don't know what that means and you don't know, but basically it's going to look well good. Xbox One is confirmed will use all current Xbox One games and accessories. They will all work. You don't need new headsets, you don't need new controllers, they will all work. There isn't a new Elite pad, that's it. However, everything, including your current Xbox One games, and I do believe backwards compatible games, will have enhanced graphics and will load faster, which is always nice. Even if you don't have a 4K TV, if you have a 1080p TV, an HD TV, like I do, everything will still look much, much nicer and better. Screensaver. It does a thing called super sampling, basically to make everything look better than anything seen before. The Scorpio, of course, chip is working it. They used a 16 nanometer liquid cooled vapor chamber, and the Hovis method. Now I thought this was quite cool. One of the actual guys working on the development of the console is a guy called Hovis, I don't know, let's call him Bob Hovis, and they actually named the method after him. Every chip will work out the absolute prime way of running on your console, because of course consoles are made ever so slightly differently, slightly different wire, slightly different quality, this, that and the other. So the Scorpio will use the Hovis technique to maximise every console to make sure it's running at optimum possible way. They then announced that the Xbox One X is the smallest Xbox they have ever made. We didn't get an exact size, but it showed an image with the console and the controller, and in all honesty it looked a controller and a half across. That was it. We then, of course, leapt into Forza 7. A scene started off in the desert, and then we, of course, clicked through different types of cars. We had ones that looked like they're not, but they looked like Formula 1 cars, you know, full-on racing, huge spoilers, through to cars. We saw truck racing. Love truck racing. Gotta have truck racing. They then announced the 2018 Porsche 911 GTR 2S world exclusive reveal, the actual car, and of course it is in the game as well, which was a gorgeous, gorgeous car. No release date or size spec on that. However, they did say that Forza 7 will be releasing on October the 3rd on Xbox One, and will be a 4K launch title when the console comes out on November the 7th, or November the 7th, as I've apparently written on my notes. And it will of course be in 4K, running at 60 frames per second. Phil then came back again, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, and said they will be showing 42 games, 22 of them are console exclusives. Now that doesn't mean that they're Xbox exclusive, so they may be on Xbox and PC. Some of them may have already been on PC, but they are coming to Xbox only, not PlayStation or Switch. We then had the world premiere of Metro Exodus, and this looked pretty swanky. If you play the Metro games, they're pretty damn good. They're available on Xbox One right now, both of them. Both of them? Three of them? Both of them. Try them. Started off in a subway, started shooting things, the gun jammed, he then stabbed this weird dog thing that was chasing him. We had a crossbow, this giant thing smashed through a door, it was firing explosive cross bolts at him, and then fell down a cliff. He used a zip line, he jumped onto a train. It was all very good, it was all cinematic. I'm not sure how much gameplay we actually saw, how much of that was scripted, but it looked gorgeous, it looked very Metro-y. My only issue I had with the previous Metros on Xbox One was the sensitivity was way off, and he had to bung that up to make it a bit quicker. We then saw Assassin's Creed Origins. Now guys, I love Assassin's Creed games, I'm completely biased towards them, but this did genuinely look very good, and everyone on Twitter while it was being played was fairly impressed. It's set in Egypt. We're going back to how the Brotherhood begins, and they were saying how they have added, oh, they get off poor French developer to come in and say Xbox One X, which was, oh, bless him, he did try. It's got massive RPG elements. You basically start off as the sheriff of your local town, and because there's lots of badness happening, slavery and, you know, the slave drivers and that sort of thing, you form a brotherhood. I'm assuming that bit, but we saw actual gameplay. We saw the horse riding through his home village. He has a little eagle flying around, which I assume where eagle vision comes from, to basically follow a guy, to spy on him, to work out your next objective. And he says, this is the next masked one on my list. So he obviously has a whole group of people to take down. We then saw a fairly familiar sight. He climbed up a wall, he went into a conveniently Y-shaped tree and stood in the middle, but what he did differently is he leapt off, pulled out a bow and arrow, and did a slow down, pulled the bow back and headshot this guy with an arrow. It's pretty sweet. Other thing we noticed him doing was two guards walking one in front of the other. He crept up behind one and hand over the mouth and stabbed him, and then he threw the knife into the back of the one in front, which was pretty sweet, pretty quick. We then also saw he killed an enemy, went over to his body, and he said, oh, this is a nice bow, and you could actually see the stats of the bow. It had basically how much damage it did, so there was the RPG sort of element. We also saw at one point it said he had leveled up and gained a point, so that's interesting. We then saw we saw the end of that, and he takes down this guy. And then we saw a little montage. There's lots of wildlife in there, everything from kind of battle arenas, slave fighting arenas, to there were rivers, there were obviously desert elements, it looked pretty good. Then Phil came back out and dropped the news that I got ever so excited about the other day. Player Unknown's Battlegrounds, PUBG, P-U-B-G, PUBG, is coming exclusively to Xbox. Been out on PC, has 3 million players, and is freaking awesome. Guys, I'm watching a lot of videos by a guy called Aculite and Jack Frags. They are very, very good at PUBG. It's brilliant. It's basically, there's 100 of you drop into an arena, a world, and slowly it shrinks, the map you have to be in. And you have to kill each other, you have to kit yourself out and kill each other. You can do it 1 versus 99, you can do teams of 2, teams of 3, teams of 4. That will be coming to Xbox One, and when the game is finally released, because it will come as game preview, when it finally gets full release, it will come with 4K update. That's the word. We then saw Deep Rock Galactic, which kind of looked really weird. It was quite cartoony and chunky. Looked like sort of Minecraft co-op thing. There were guys, basically they were drilling into walls, and the underground, all miners, like dwarf miners, steampunk dwarf miners, drilling into walls and gathering ores and stuff. And then suddenly this massive horde came at them. So I don't know if you have to use the ores to upgrade yourself, or use as to make weapons. I don't know. Looks alright. Didn't see a lot of that. Was pretty quick. We then saw State of Decay 2. Now, State of Decay 2 is a zombie survival game. You set up a house. You have to go and rescue other people. You have to make decisions whether those people are going to be with you or go out as scouting parties, or you just don't want to rescue them at all. Looked very, very much like State of Decay 1, but it's going to sound stupid, but with more things to do, better graphics, a more fleshed out storyline, as well as obviously co-op. It kind of made it look like, I've put on here that State of Decay, and I think I put on my Twitter, it makes to me look like State of Decay was like an alpha or a beta version, and State of Decay 2 is the final released version. It's the version we always wanted. Looked good. We then saw the Darwin Project. I'm not sure what I made of this. Darwin Project was again another cartoony one of kill everybody, last man surviving. Clearly mixed heavily with Mixer. If you're streaming, people can type stuff and give you an overshield. We saw happen. Not sure what I make of that. Looks kind of Overwatchy to an extent, but one on one. You're on your own. That's right. We then saw some Minecraft. Now, it's kind of hard for me to get excited by Minecraft in 4K because it's blocks, but it looked very nice. It had lots of shaders. What was exciting for me with Minecraft is that it is crossplay against all things ever: Android, iPhone, Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, newspaper, whatever version you have, you can play with each other, which I think is amazing. Console crossplay, that's pretty cool. As well as I saw a few mods that obviously have now been made into the actual game. Lots of animals, lots of new textures, huge great big servers they were boasting about. So yeah, pretty cool if you're a Minecrafter. What did we go to after that? Oh, they then went to announce that every exclusive that they were announcing on 22 you could pre-order today. We then jumped into Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Now, I'll be honest with you, Dragon Ball Z has gone straight past me. I've never watched it, I've never been into it, I don't understand it. People got excited, I didn't. Big in Japan, it's a one-on-one fighting game, Dragon Ball Z. Look great if you like Dragon Ball Z. Where do we go after that? We went to Black Dynasty, releasing in February 2018. Is a massively multiplayer online RPG game, and I put at the time, looks like Samurai Warriors mixed with Lord of the Rings. It really does, and it looks awesome actually. I guess it's going to probably be more like Elder Scrolls. But yeah, there were lots of killing loads and loads of little things, and then big fights against big things, and arrows and magic and chopping things up, and it looked really cool actually. I really like the look of that. We then saw The Last Night. Now this is going to sound really odd, and I've put here 8-bit style Tron game mixed with flashback. Doesn't sound great, does it? But it was really beautifully done. 8-bit style, but it had layered backgrounds to make it look really nice. That ear's burnt quite badly and that really hurt. But it just looked really, really nice. We didn't really see anything about it. What was really cool is all the ID Xbox games were jammed in with the normal AAA titles, which I think is a great way to do it. We then saw Artful Escape, which will be a Scorpio launch game, and it just looked like some weird platform guitar game. It looked nice, but I had no idea what was going on. Didn't miss much there. We then saw Code Vein 2018 game. Code Vein looked like a manga version of Dark Souls. That's what it looked like to me. Some sort of very Japanesey dungeon crawling. Again, we didn't really get much details. Tricky one. We then jumped into Sea of Thieves. Now, Sea of Thieves I've played a lot on the preview, and it's okay. But my biggest issue with Sea of Thieves is that at the moment you're just dumped in with randoms, and you are very, very reliant on your team playing like a team. And Matt, my Gamer XP on my Twitter, said exactly the same thing. Most games are involve people just playing the accordion, dueling, and trying to hog all the gold for themselves. You occasionally get a team that play together, but the problem is if you want to use the ship, for example, you have 3 sets of sails, front, middle and back. They have to be rotated to catch the wind, dropped and raised for speed. You then have to have someone on the crow's nest, someone steering, someone controlling the anchor. And it quite often ends up with me, a person, doing all of the sails themselves, whilst the others play the accordion and just jump up and down. And then you get to an island, you have a treasure map, someone reads out the clue, or they don't read out the clue and they just run off, and you're left to explore and kill skeletons and stuff that come after you, and then next thing you know everyone's back on the boat and I'm still in a cave. That's my biggest issue. It's okay, it's really okay. There's huge hype for Sea of Thieves and Xbox are really plugging it, but there needs to be a lot more to do. My other issue as well is that it looks really childish. It's really cartoony. So when you see the skeletons, you don't really pay much attention, and then they two-shot you, which is irritating. So I don't know what to make of Sea of Thieves. I really don't. I want to like it, I just don't. Sorry. We then saw Tacoma, a game I know nothing about, coming out on August the 2nd. It just looked like wire people, pink and green people made of wire nets, running around a really cool looking spaceship. I know nothing of this game, I must have missed this. I don't know if it's out on PC as a preview or what, but it meant nothing to me, but lots of people on my Twitter got excited, so pleased for you. We then saw Super Lucky's Tale. Odd one, this. If Yooka-Laylee hadn't come out, I'd have been very excited by this, but it just now looks like a Yooka-Laylee rip-off. It looks very Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie kind of thing. 3D platformer, but also then has 2D elements as well, side-scrolling elements. Looks beautiful, looks really good, nice, bright, colourful, very child-friendly. Lots of different moves you can do. We didn't hear any voice acting. Now, to me, it was missing that Rare charm, and I do mean the company Rare. And of course, now Yooka-Laylee have done it. It misses their charm. But yeah, weird one. Like I said, if Yooka-Laylee didn't exist, I'd have been really, really excited for it. But Yooka-Laylee exists, and I watched it and thought, you're just ripping off Yooka-Laylee. But it does look good. Really weird thing to moan about. Cuphead. A lot of people have waited for Cuphead since last year. It's finally got a release date, September 29th. We didn't see any new footage. It was very, very quick. It was like, here's Cuphead, the end. But 29th. We then saw Mr. Terry Crews, the big guy with the muscles who looks a lot like me, but he's black, doing Crackdown 3. Now, I love this note. I've put November the 7th, 4-player, yes, Borderlands type, neon punk, jumpy booms. And I'm quite happy to leave it at that, but I will explain. Yeah, so Crackdown 3 is going to be 4-player. The game looked gorgeous. I was really worried when I saw it ages ago, and it just looked like all you did was blow up the world, because it had these huge destructible environments. And there was a scene where a guy's using like a rocket launcher and a big platform does explode. But it does look like the run and gun, jumpy, fast pace. It looks awesome. It looks very Borderlands-y, but much faster. And yeah, it looked really, really good. I was very on the fence with it, and now I'll be honest with you, yeah, it's a game I'm going to get. We then saw a montage of many idea Xbox games. There was a massive mixture of things in there, from your normal platformers through to dungeon crawling games, like isometric dungeon crawling games. All sorts of things. Lots of people picked out individual ones and got excited. I, of course, didn't make a note of any of their names. I don't even know when they're out, but there were lots in there, and they all looked very, very nice. We then saw Ashen, which was another dungeon crawler. Looked absolutely beautiful artwork. It was all kind of... the faces didn't have any features, which I know sounds really odd, but there was a nice storyline to it, and it just looked really nicely animated. Hopefully it's co-op. It did look co-op. We saw a couple of heroes, but again, it kind of looked like a introductory story, but it did look very, very nice. We then saw Life is Strange 2, which people were telling me is a prequel. Now, I am about the only person in the world that hated Life is Strange. I found it about a whiny emo girl who was always miserable, and I tried twice to play it and I hated it, but I'm pleased. It's just my personal opinion. I know tons of you loved it, and Twitter lit up. People were so excited this was out, so I'm really pleased for you guys. It looked gorgeous, I've got to say. I just got no interest in the story, but for those who like Life is Strange 2, or the prequel, is coming, and it looks very, very nice. If you liked the original, you will love this, guaranteed. We then saw Shadow of War, which is the sequel to Shadow of Mordor, the Lord of the Rings prequel game, I want to say. Now, Shadow of Mordor is a game that I missed. Sorry, I just did. But again, I know it's a good game. A lot of people loved it, and this looks stunning. Maybe not the best of graphics, but the animation, the way the characters were talking to each other, and the things you did look very, very good. Controlling your own orc and goblin army looks ridiculously good fun. We saw this basically taking on this great big guy who we had to recruit, so then we could go and take on an assault fortress. There was a bit of back and forth between some of the characters as well. It looks really, really good. I'm definitely jumping on that one. That's going to eat up a lot of time. Doesn't look like it's co-op, looks like it's single player again, but you know, there's nothing wrong with a good single player game if it's got a good story. So very, very nice. We then saw Ori 2, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Guys, I'm sorry, I didn't play Ori either. A 10 out of 10 game for most of you. Another one that came out at a time when I was doing review after review after review, and I just didn't have time to enjoy it, so I didn't play it. I didn't want to ruin it. But I know tons of you love Ori. This looked beautiful. The conductor of the composer of the music was there playing on the piano. It was gorgeous. It was a beautiful storyline, you know, being played out in front of us. Obviously no words, it was just all animated. But oh, it looked lovely. Looks really, really good. Again, if you liked Ori, grab Ori 2. If you haven't played Ori, grab it. Don't be me. It looks absolutely wonderful. Phil then came back out and announced that later this year, coming to Xbox One and Xbox X, we will be having original Xbox games as backwards compatible. No idea really exactly the games that are coming. We had one little one, but they will be coming to backwards compatible. Guys, the way backwards compatible work is Xbox have made every Xbox 360 and Xbox original game possible to be played on Xbox One. When you scream at them, make this backwards compatible, they have. Okay, it's up to the developers to make it backwards compatible. There has to be certain programming tweaks that happen for backwards compatibility to happen. So screaming at Xbox, make this game backwards compatible, it's not up to them. They've made every game available, they've contacted all the developers, but if the developer has gone under and doesn't exist, or is a really old studio and has been developed by somebody else and no one picked up the rights, chances are it's not coming to backwards compat. That's the way it works. It sucks, but that's how it has to work. But there is a whole new range of games coming out with the original Xbox games coming. We then heard that Gears 4, Killer Instinct, Halo Wars 2 and Forza plus 30 other titles will be getting free Xbox One X enhanced package. So there will be in total, because I've obviously missed one out, 35 games on launch at Scorpio that will be coming to Xbox One X in 4K 60 frames per second, including Final Fantasy 15, Resi 7, Tom Clancy's Wildlands and Rocket League. Pretty cool. We then had some prices. Starting today, Xbox One S is available in the US for $249, and on November, as I wrote earlier, the 7th, the Xbox One X will be $499. Now, that probably means in the UK, it's not going to be $362 at the current conversion rate. It will probably be £499. Because we have different taxes. That's why. So 500 quid, 450 to 500 pound, 499 US dollars. Now, bearing in mind this is a console that they have already confirmed will be doing multiple VR systems. Will be able to work with it probably next year. Not yet. too soon. There will be VR games coming. Screen's over. It is the most powerful console ever made. It is future-proofed. You've got full Xbox One catalogue, Xbox 360 catalogue, Xbox original catalogue available. Not there, but available. All your current stuff will work. It is a beast of a console. Now, a lot of people instantly went $499, I'm out, but what did you expect? Guys, this is a ridiculously powerful console. This is up there with top-end PCs. The cooling system is used by servers normally. It's that powerful. This was always going to be state-of-the-art. It was always going to be expensive. It was always going to be a big one. I feared it would be 700 quid at one point. I thought it would be 550. So for 499, I'm all right with that. My biggest issue is I need a decent 4K telly with HDR and all that lot, but nah, we'll worry about that in the future. I think that's quite a good price. I'm quite happy with that. I've been saving up for this since it first got announced that Project Scorpio was a thing, and I'm pretty much there, so I'm quite happy. You know, you can always trade in your Xbox One S or your Xbox One and get a 4K one. Why not future-proof yourself? I know that's going to annoy and divide a lot of you, but again, just my opinion. We then ended with Anthem. Holy shit, Anthem. Anthem ended Xbox's presentation. My God. Basically, grab Destiny and like the co-op open worldiness of The Division and jam it all in with Halo, and then mix in suits that make you look like freaking Iron Man and War Machine that can fire rockets and lasers and machine guns, and you have Anthem. You have jetpacks built on there. There's bits where you use your pack underwater. There's flying sections, but they're not, that's how you get there. The gameplay looked amazing. It was gorgeous. At the beginning we saw two characters talking in a marketplace. The animation on their faces when they spoke was spot on. They were ugly, but I think the guy was meant to be ugly. It looked brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Anthem blew my freaking socks off. I can't give you a release date because if it was there I was too excited and I missed it, but I don't think it was. Anthem is the one to look out for, guys. Look out for the hashtags. And 27 minutes later, that was pretty much all of the Xbox presentation. Some personal opinion in there. I'm sorry if that's offended you. It's just my opinion. Feel free to leave your own. Please don't tell me my opinion's wrong. It's my opinion. I'm open to suggestions, but don't just tell me I'm wrong and I'm an idiot. That annoys me, man, and I put annoying comments back at you. But yeah, I hope this cleared some stuff up. I tried to desperately reduce this to make this a quick presentation, but there was a lot in there, man. A lot in there. Like I say, it started at 10, it ended at nearly midnight, just shy of midnight, so it was 2 hours long, and I've got it down to 27 and a bit minutes. So there we go. Hope it's helped. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've really liked my bright pink face with my strange lighting. Oh man, look how burnt my ear is. That's because I'm British and we don't do this on. We're allergic to it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Do leave a comment. Leave a nice comment. Leave a constructive comment. It doesn't have to be nice. Just leave a constructive comment. Let's have a chat. I will do my best to reply. Come find me on Twitter. That's like the main place we all chat and talk to each other. So jump on there. And thank you ever so much for watching. Till next time. Off button. There.